And Digambar Kamath, being Digambar Kamath, decided to deconstruct his own monument, which would have been the greatest monument of his regime. And once the draft regional plan was prepared, we all know what happened after that. Even a person like Edgar Ribeiro had to leave the task force because there were too many political compulsions which were diluting that impeccable draft regional plan. When we have reopened the regional plan today, and when we are taking it back to people, I strongly believe that we should start from that draft regional plan, which was planned well, which was planned by the expert on the basis of survey number-wise land use plan of the state. Whatever happened after that can be re-examined, can be re-looked into. We can go into the details of each and every addition that was made the post-draft plan stage and take the plan ahead from there. If we can do that, if we can understand this reality that we don't need to scrap the entire plan, start the entire process again, and it will take another 3-4 years, which will only benefit those who want to exploit this situation. If we understand that, if we can do this in this time frame, I think that will be the best thing we can do by remembering Father Bismarck. The second thing, and I openly say this, we need to open dialogue with all those whom we are opposing, or if I may say, despise. Because unless there is dialogue, unless we sit across the table, and unless we decide how to move ahead, what are the compulsions of the person sitting in front of us, what are our compulsions, we are not going to move forward. If we are just going to take a very hardened stance that this is my stand and I am not going to allow you what you want to do, and if another person takes a stance that I am not going to allow you what you want to do, we will not move ahead. We always talk about Goenkarpan, and I think the first rule of Goenkarpan is we talk to each other, we cordially behave with each other, and the dialogue, the conversation to take things ahead so that they don't go into deep freeze and they lie still. If we can do these two things, I think there will be the true remembering of Father Bismarck.
Before I ask Amit, I am very happy that somebody has come forward to say that the draft regional plan was good. I have said that a number of times. And every time I said this sentence, I almost got stoned. Because somewhere down the line, the impression was that the government could never come out with anything good. Our mistrust in the government was so low that we never thought that the government could come out with a good plan. And that is where I am saying, and today I am also saying that when Pramod is saying this, some 2 days back, GBA came with a statement which said that the draft regional plan implemented. And whatever is wrong with that, which the final plan which went, at the time it was frozen, let us correct it. But don't scrap the plan. See, the GBA has come with that stand, don't scrap the plan. Because there are a lot of good things in it. And the point is that after 4 years we are saying this. If we had said this 4 years back, maybe the regional plan would have been the law 4 years back. Anyway, we'll go further with this discussion. I request Amit.
So when we are discussing Father Bismarck effect, whether it's murder or no murder, what I have seen over the period of time after his death is that, it's like sometimes it's not that loud noises will make out a cause or will give good result to a cause. And sometimes silence can speak more than what you would speak through your words. After the death, the way the movement was taken ahead to find out or cry foul over murder, and then the way the events that happened, which led to arrest of certain activists, I felt if Father Bismarck was alive and he was part of such an agitation, he wouldn't have done it the way the other activists took it. The very effect of his death was neutralized by the way the movement went ahead. Even the protests when the arrest happened was something that was uncalled for. People who are in favor of probe or people who are in favor of finding some solution to this problem also dissuaded themselves from being a part of any further agitations because of the certain moments, and it was only loud noises and nothing, and no one could be heard properly. If you see the entire effect of this death, in fact, it should have been a different moment where all the activists of Goa should have come under one roof, and the basic cause would be Goa and its future. When the government has gone nuts over coconuts, I'm sure, and the way the government is destroying Goa, it is, I think, one single agenda of all activists should be what Father Bismarck did for us, what Father Bismarck would have done for us in this kind of a situation, and what Father Bismarck, or the way Father Bismarck would have moved in this kind of a situation. Would he shout on ascending on a pedestal? Would he give abusive words to people? Or would he sing his way out? Would he get people together? Would he get people along with him to say that our only cause is to save our future, our motherland, our Goa? But the cause seems to be getting lost because there seems to be certain problem with certain people who are spearheading the agitation. And I'm sure no one will take this in a bad stride. When I started speaking about the death of Father Bismarck on Facebook, there were abuses hurled. There were bad words given. I finally chose not to get into the muck because sometimes some people enjoy that muck. But in fact, my opinion, and I'm sure there will be thousands of Goans, their opinion was whether Father was killed or not killed. There are some people who are going ahead killing or murdering Goa slowly. It's a slow death which Goa is facing. As a true Goan and a Goikar, I feel that our cause, or the cause which Father Bismarck started, should not die a death because of vested interests. Going by the regional plan, way the government is going about the regional plan, I'm sure ultimately until the next government comes in, there won't be a regional plan. Now, are the panchayats or the locals experts on regional plan? Then why are we putting it before the panchayat? Are they experts? Some of them are illiterates. I'm sorry to say this, but then none of them are educated, or most of them are not educated, not trained experts. It has to be a community of architects. It has to be a community of planners who can decide on the regional plan. And of course, I agree with Pramod when he said that the first one was the best one. But then something has gone wrong somewhere. And being a lawyer, being a part of also real estate industry, because I represent a lot of builders, we have seen what is going on in Goa. We have seen it starting right from the stage of mutation to the stages of getting your approval to getting land converted into a settlement zone. And I absolutely understand and know what is happening right now in Goa. So I'm sure it is ultimately going to end Goa. It's going to destroy Goa. I have the same feeling as the people who come to Goa, who have been visiting Goa for the last 10 years and who come as tourists here, who don't want to come here because of various issues like garbage, the haphazard development, the bad state of roads, the bad way of development, the beaches are getting destroyed. And I feel bad because I'm sure my mother is crying.
Prajal, you said Father Bismarck was working with you. Of course, I have not had the experience of working with him. But could I know something more, or could we know something more about his views on, say, the type of land we should have, the type of development we should have, or what exactly was sort of the model that was thought about for Goa?
Was actually very radical in his views. See, that day at the GBA meeting, taking forward the legacy of Bismarck, I'm speaking, that day at the GBA meeting, it was decided, and I was a party to it, that as Pramod has rightly said, and I fully endorse what he has said, and Amit also, that the draft regional plan is really good. Okay? It should not be scrapped. But the problem was, one of the activists raised this issue that all those who were there at the meeting, do they reflect the entire Goa? Because there are Gram Sabhas and other bodies, local bodies, which have demanded the scrapping. Now we are again in a very tight spot, in a very difficult situation. How to amalgamate these two diametrically opposite views? Now GBA, and I'm part of GBA, is saying that we should have this draft regional plan because it is good. And Rabani was talking about the eco-sensitive areas and all which are reflected. And Father Bismarck was all for that, eco-sensitive areas. So now the question, that is the big question mark. Okay? I'm sure Father Bismarck would have reacted very harshly and sharply to the IPB, that is Investment Promotion Board, because this Investment Promotion Board, which is in the offing, it is going to destroy Goa completely, because it is overriding the Town and Country Planning Act, it is overriding the regional plan, and even if we implement the draft regional plan, the IPB is overriding that also. So I do not know where is the via media. Perhaps Father Bismarck would have asked for scrapping of the regional plan, knowing him very closely. But this kind of a via media, we have to find out, and I am not for the scrapping of the regional plan, that we have to have this draft regional plan, which is very good, because it will take lot of time once again to do the entire exercise again. But we have to also take into consideration what the other villages, because many villages have taken decisions to scrap it. Okay, so now we have to once again bring every activist together. That is one. Plus, we have to now talk about IPB, which has to be, that has to be scrapped, okay, because it is overriding all these things. So now the question is, the natural heritage of Goa is completely at the altar of destruction. So, and Father Bismarck would have fought tooth and nail to save Mother Goa.
Pramod, would like to add?
No, I'd just like to take Prajal's point forward, where the confusion that he is mentioning, there are two aspects to it. The first aspect, and I think I partially agree with Amit on that, that planning is the domain of planners. Now, where do you bring panchayats or gram sabhas into picture? If your planners are proposing a certain project in your village, or they are marking it as a particular zone, then they can voice their opinion whether they want it or they don't want it in their village. The moment you throw the ball in their court, asking them what you want in your village, you are going to get chaos back. Because then you are not the expert. The first thing, it is the planners who should see the landscape and plan accordingly. The moment you will ask them what you want, for example, when the 3,400 plus suggestions that the old regional plan received from gram panchayats and people across Goa, 90% of them were asking for conversions. Because you just did not give them any parameters, you did not give them any guidelines, and you just asked them, this is the plan, and everybody wanted to convert their own land. So that is the situation you are going to get thrown into if you are going to ask them what you want. The ideal way is planners plan it for you, and then you tell them, I want this or I don't want this. Then the village can decide, I don't want this project in my village, or a village can decide, okay, this is going to generate employment, this is going to churn out the economy, so we want this project. You cannot throw the ball into the courts of gram sabhas and gram panchayats and ask them, tell us what you want in your village. Then you are going to get 100 kinds of suggestions, and you will finally never arrive at a comprehensive plan of that village. I think that there I partially agree with Amit. The scope should be very clear. Even now, when government has asked for suggestions on the regional plan, if you read the notice published in the newspaper by Town and